None of the people were riding with the bus. That's not wonderful. Welcome.
This is Dr. Michael, MD, Centenary.
Thank you, sir. And that's Mr.
Shagil. Oh, you can call me Shagun. That's okay. I used to live in Lagos, so that's good.
Director of Front Range Fish Enterprise.
The journey, this is a customer journey. Obviously we have Abuja on this side. We have our inspiration city, which is Dubai, the UAE. Us as a development company, we're from Dubai. The investor, that is the investment development company, the joint venture, is also from Dubai. It is also our inspiration city. I'm going to share with you the presentation. Okay. So we have Nigeria on one side, the UAE, our inspiration city on the other side, and we're trying to bring the best of both worlds together. Okay. That's the biggest. So here are some of the renders of our future city, the Centenary city. This you've seen the center of the Africa Park. Leading up to it is Nigeria. So we made sure we have a lot of green space, entertainment space, community space, even in the center of the city. We also have a large destination for shoppers, very large square meters along with the convention center. As you can see, we also kept very much the center of the city, not just transform as open to the right, but keep the characteristics of local
Whoa. That's good. What's the idea of your work?
This week's session.
Hold on.
Royal Highness our good friend Haji Al-Hassan senior members of staff from NECTA, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the 14 local and foreign investors of Centenary PLC, it's my pleasure to welcome Honorable Managing Director of NECTA to the Centenary Economic City Free Zone. Honorable MD, you recall that when you assumed office, we visited you and you promised to visit our zone. We've been jealously watching as we visited other zones, and we waited patiently, and of course we consoled ourselves that we left the best for last. So we cannot thank you enough. The staff of NECTA and the steady support and guidance of our zone administrators, and especially our emirs in the city. As we give this promise of building this legacy for Nigeria. Today's agenda will be quite brief. I will give you a welcome address, just to highlight the few points. And I'll hand you over to our deployment partners from the UAE to thoroughly go through the master plan and what you can take a ride into the city, but not just to see it from outside, but the design is also very good. Let me begin by making a very salient point. This zone is and will always be the best free zone in Nigeria for a number of reasons, and I can explain that. Number one, our history. Centenary City is a legacy project of the 2014 Centenary celebration as approved by the Federal Executive Council. So it's a legacy project of 100 years journey as Nigerians. It is very critical. Government didn't have money to do it, so it invited the private sector through public offer for people to set up a company that can drive the Centenary City. And that's why the Centenary City is a private sector development. That's number one. Number two, it's an economic city. Governments build economic cities for different reasons, especially to diversify itself from oil, to increase employment, to generate local and foreign investment. So it's the Centenary City is an idea that has come. Like sister cities in Dubai is an economic city, the King Abdullah economic city in Saudi Arabia is an economic city, Sombo in South Korea is an economic city, and so on. And a co-Atlantic city, believe it or not, is also an economic city. And these cities focus directly on a lot of activity. And some of these targets are captured in Centenary City. Centenary City is focused on tourism, recreation, commerce, sports, historical activities, where people go to. It's a destination. So our inspiration city for Centenary City is Dubai. Everybody goes to Dubai. Dubai makes 60% of the economy is oil-based. But now 75% of Dubai is tourism. So they've turned it around. So we can learn. So Centenary City is quite frankly a strategy for government to emphasize the non-oil sector. Be it the last administration, be it this administration. There's even more focus on non-oil development in this administration. Two, our structure. We are truly a public-private partnership. As you all know, the federal government, through the FCT, holds 5% equity in Centenary City PLC. So we're truly a public-private partnership. By taking the board seat in Centenary City PLC, the government, the federal government, through the FCT, will actually continually participate in all the decisions in Centenary City PLC, which is regulated by NAFTA, another federal government. Number three, our financial commitment. We are the most financially committed free zone. 18.376 billion from the UAE sponsors is coming. It's not going anywhere even with all of this happening. The foreign investor has spent over $40 million doing the master plan, building this beautiful place, and even doing a lot of construction on the site that is not visible to you, but it's happening. $40 million is over $14 billion now at today's rate. Number four, our social commitment. We have paid all available compensation to the original inhabitants. All. We have also put in place strategies to employ the local youth of this community. Some of them are very select. And we have made a promise to build a Centenary settlement at the cost of almost $60 million. Number five, our transparency. From our internal processes and external investigations and inquiries, most captured by the Senate Committee on FCT report, everything about the Centenary City followed the process. Everything about the Centenary City followed the process, including the granting of free zone by data. All of this is captured. And that's our transparency. And finally, our promise to the people. What is it? Number one, the Centenary City is being built at no cost to government. Zero. Number two, foreign direct investment of over $18 billion. like you said, we've made concession. Number 5, we're building the settlement. And we're getting the power line. But then, it's a huge improvement in the quality of the infrastructure of the equity. In 2050, Nigeria will add 100 million to its current population, 300 million. The FCT is estimated to have 15 million people. So this project is very critical for Nigeria and extremely very critical for the FCT. And it includes transfer of technology, backward linkages, to present a better image of Nigeria, an attractive destination for tourists and other investment. So I thank you, Honorable Jimmy, Managing Director of CENTA, for visiting us today. And I thank our area and our close investor, for being here. And without much ado, I will introduce Mr. Shego, the Executive Director of Foreign Trade from Dubai. After that, I'm told from the press we want to have an interaction because it's a really international event, so we'll leave you there before we change the venue. So, thank you very much.
Good afternoon. While we're waiting for Dr. Ike, I'll just actually introduce myself. Also, thank you all for coming. His Royal Highness, the Emir of Dubai, Right Honorable Managing Director of NIPSA, Mr. Emmanuel, the Honorable Members of Press Corps present here in full force. Thank you. Our very close partner, Al-Haji, Al-Hassan, our joint venture partner, Dr. Mike, who is also a Centenary PLC, Managing Director of PLC, also Centenary Free Zone Company. Senior members of NEPSA, colleagues. I will just present you with our master plan. The master plan will be planned with 2 or 3 things in mind. I start with the master plan for Centenary City. We start our master planning process with seeing where we are relative location to the center of the city, to the access points of the city. We also check that we fit into the overall master plan of the city. We have. We present our master plan to the various authorities to get all their inputs, after which we move to the next stage. Ensuring that the contours of the site do not interfere with water runoff, storm drainage, flooding, sewage, etc. for our neighbors. So a lot of planning goes into developing the master plan. We also, before we start, check the seasons on the site. So now we are aware we have a very dry season where wildfires are imminent. We also have a very wet season where the soil gets very soft, and therefore it changes the way we need to build this particular site. One of the very important components of the master plan is the client's inputs or the key deliverables into the master plan. As a developer, it's very important that we respect the environment, and therefore the first point that we start with is the green spaces. We need to preserve our green spaces. As cities grow larger and larger, they're encroaching on green space. So we make sure that these green spaces are well respected and we actually try and enlarge them and preserve them. We also look at access. We also look at access to a big green strategy where it's not very grid-based. From the center of the city, you can get out in 4 or 5 directions, as well as enter the center of the city from 4 or 5 directions. We look at our own feasibility to see where the value of this master plan is going to be delivered. Normally it's in the center of the city, so we start developing from the outside of the city. We check it is on a grid. We make sure the green spaces are connected and that we have identified the districts within the city. We also take the master plan that was developed for Abuja by Albert Square and partners. They have developed the master plan all the way to this side of the city, and we adjust it to meet our co-development strategy. Here are some images of how a master plan develops over time. So this is the same master plan with the inputs of NEPSA, with the inputs of FCDA, with the inputs of Dubai, with the inputs of our partners. It's a living document. It keeps changing. And then finally, we go to the final master plan. This is the master plan that we now submit for approval purposes, and it's still a living document. We will still have changes on this master plan. While Nigeria was going through the economic crisis, we also slowed down investments. At the same time, we did not slow down our design process. We actually added and enhanced the master plan during this period. So we took this period of lull to actually work on and enhance the master plan. Once the master plan is completed from a visual perspective, then we go down into densities. We need to make sure the heights of each building, the densities of each area meet up to our guidelines and to our facilities. We then even look at parking spaces and ensure that there are enough parking spaces within the master plan. We look at the population loading on this master plan. And finally, we look at community services. It's very important that we plug in the community services into the master plan very early. In fact, what we do is that we ensure that the community facilities are no more than a 5-minute walk from neighborhoods. That's what you will see. The circles denote 5-minute walking zones. And finally, we look at the security strategy for the site. We know where the heavy vehicles are coming from, where we have checkpoints, all the access points are double entry, double identification. Dr. Aike had touched upon Dubai. Why is Dubai our inspiration city? Dubai used to be a lot like Nigeria. They survived a lot on their oil resources. After a while, they realized that oil is a fossil fuel. It is not renewable, so they need to shift strategy. Dubai's current population is 5 million. That is nearly the same population we have in Abuja. But the GDP of Dubai is 10 times larger. They have done that by changing the focus on oil, the focus on tourism and services. Our investment comes from Dubai, from a fund based on Dubai. So all the more reason that we use Dubai as an inspiration. We, therefore, have enhanced the master plan to ensure that Centenary City becomes a destination. If you look at that little box, the red box on the master plan, that area is now going to become the first privately owned urban safari park in the world. The only other urban safari parks are in Nairobi and close to Johannesburg, they're all national parks. This is the first privately owned urban safari park in the world, and it is here in Nigeria, here in Centenary City. But tourism does not end with the safari ride. We need to ensure that people come here and stay here. But we also need to respect that our master plan, that area is a green area. So we decided to introduce shelters, temporary structures which are not permanent, will not have a permanent footprint on the environment into the safari park. So people can come and actually stay in the safari park for 2 or 3 days, spend their tourism dollars or naira over here, and add to this economy. We are lacking conference space all over Nigeria. We are losing conference business to Durban, to Johannesburg, to Dubai, even to Cairo. So in our master plan, it was very important that we design a 150,000 square meter conference center. Alongside the conference center, Finally, the city center. The city center is very important to bring those service jobs that are very needed in Nigeria to move away from our reliance on oil. The city center in Africa Tower and the Africa Square will now act as a magnet for offices, workers, and also development of our construction sector. Because buildings of 300 meters in Nigeria has not yet been done. So we begin to do that in Nigeria for the first time. It's very critical that we maintain green spaces even within the city center. So alongside the Africa Tower and the square, we have the Nigeria Park. The Nigeria Heritage Park will also act as a magnet for entertainment, leisure, sporting activities, and other avenues that we will bring to the public. We also have 5-star hotels, residences. We have other 3-star, 4-star hotels that we have planned within the city. This will also bring more tourists. We also have an amusement park on 100,000 square meters of land, and that's why when you have an amusement park, you need the hotel beds to cater for the people visiting the amusement park. So it's very important that we build a hotel and tourism sector as well. We bring new concepts from Dubai. This is a concept called Stop Box. It's a box park made out of very nice shipping containers. This will now act as a very good food and beverage relaxation space within the city. Community services, as we said, are very important. Schools, primary schools, colleges, vocational schools, they are already embedded into the master plan. These are plots that we cannot change the use of. So these plots are already master plan for use as a school, as a university, as a primary school. We've also concluded an MOU with a Dubai-based hospital company to bring a 300-bed hospital, which will be one of the largest hospitals in Nigeria, with a focus on renal care. Nigeria has a big problem with kidney diseases, and therefore we're bringing a renal specialty hospital onto our side. Sports are very important to develop youth. Sports tourism is also very large across the world. Dubai hosts the PGA Tour for golf, the WTP Tour for tennis, the Gold Cup for polo. They also have fast boat racing. Abu Dhabi also has the Formula 1. We need to develop the sports in Nigeria. In that way, we are also going to open up a polo club, an international quality polo club designed by specialists from Argentina. Along with this polo club, we will have a country club where we will have the first grass course in Nigeria. At the same time, on the next phase, we also develop a world-class international quality 18-hole golf course community where one time in the future we would love to host a PGA tournament. We also have co-developers. A lot of people complain that you guys have come from Dubai, you will invest all the money yourselves and not allow any co-developer from Nigeria to come into the site. That's not right. And that's not true either. Sitting in front of us is one of our primary major co-developers, which is the Crescent House Limited, headed by Al-Haji Baba Kanfata. They will also be building on the site Buhari Towers. We have large co-developers. The people said, well, you're only going to have large people, what about us? We also have developments for smaller developers. These are smaller sites of 800 square meters, where the average developer can come and co-develop on our site. We provide infrastructure, we do all the design, they co-develop the site with us. And finally, we also have our own developments to do. Soon we'll be building Villa Royale, the Greens. We've already touched on the green chalets in the Safari Park, the grove, which is the co-development site, and the clubhouse, which will form the first phase of our development. All this leads up to one thing: jobs, employment. We will, at our peak, employ over 250,000 people in Centenary City. About half of them will be working in offices in the service sector. We will be a small microcosm of Nigeria, moving away from oil to services and to tourism. This iconic capital that we are building within Greater Abuja, the small microcosm of the future of Nigeria that we are building, would not have happened without the active participation of their Royal Highnesses here, whose communities have been impacted by this development. Without their support and without their active support, there is not a passive support, but active support. Without their active support, without the community's active support, we would not be here. So we want to have a special vote of thanks for all the emirs who form part of this country. The jobs that I mentioned will be inclusive of this community. In fact, the first jobs that we have will be as rangers of the safari park. We've already collected the youths from all the emirates, invited them here, done a small training session to see whether they will be able to become rangers. So this is just the first step that we are taking in creating the local jobs in this area. Of course, we would not be here without the active engagement of all the government agencies that we've been dealing with, especially Texas. I want to thank the MD, the Director of Private Zones, Head of Legal, our zone representatives, the Engineer's Office, and all of our other colleagues. I call them colleagues because they have a desk here, and all our other colleagues in Texas. They have been so supportive. Without their help, we would not be here. And it is with their active support that we are moving forward. Finally, our partners. Without our partners, Centenary City PLC, who have managed to get this whole project into a shape where an investor can step in and go. We also want to thank our new co-development partners, Alhaji Babakan Tata. We also have in the second and third row our smaller co-developers. We want to thank them as well. I want to also have a special vote of thanks to colleagues in this joint venture. All the people standing at the back there, my colleagues who are working day and night to make this a reality. Thank you, colleagues. Members of the press, thank you very much for coming. The Royal Highnesses, the Minister, partners, thank you very much.
Thanks.
I don't need to say anything. Let's go. No, you could. You could. I think you should. I've been asked to cut only the people. No, you can say something. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have the special honor and the privilege to perform the function of cutting this river, and I do so with a firm belief and commitment that this particular edifice, this particular project, will be used for the benefit of all Nigerians
indeed the benefit of all who participate in making this project worthy of its name. And we do this believing that God Almighty also bless the hands of all those who are working to make this project come to fruition. I do this in God's mighty name. Amen.
Yes.
I don't do this all the time.
Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to say will add, I believe, tremendous value to how we support this dream and make it a reality. I'm very pleased to partner with the investor and the foreign investors, and also to say that we have a very close hand in your eye. And I actually discovered this project when I came to discuss polo, the game of polo. As you have noticed on your way up, there's a polo ground being prepared to the left of the tribe. I came to look into that opportunity and got involved in other projects. And for that, we are building a complex of 4 towers. 120 flats will be sold at the price of 15 million naira each, which is the limit that the federal housing scheme loans is mentioned by the end. And at the same time, we're also building another tower at the mixed-use area, which is Crescent Towers. These are going to be 84 apartments, luxury apartments, to be sold to the right neighbors that can live in peace and harmony away from the city. So actually what Centenary City is providing is a new way of life and relieving the city of Abuja from all the stresses and the traffic, and also giving the people of Nigeria the opportunity to live in a better way, a more planned way than we live today. So I would like to thank them for the encouragement, for the support, and I assure you in another 2 months maximum, we'll all reconvene to launch the Wadi Towers project. So thank you for the support, and I'm putting up my team together. We intend to have some space here very soon, so that we are on the ground on a daily basis to look into our own projects and to also support the management in case there's any need for intervention or options. So, Your Royal Highnesses, MPs, my brother Dr. and my other brother, Jamal, I thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless you all.
Those towers will also open up, and right there is the safari. Thanks. Just to give you a presentation.
Maybe I'll visit on the solo, by the way. have one of this, we have one of that, we have almost 10 of this sold. The different construction where you have top and bottom black. If you draw the concept, you have light, saves the energy, and even lower the construction cost. So you're looking at house, but you don't have minimalist construction.
Ideally, it will be either an apartment or a villa like this, overlooking this beautiful site. It's a bit warm, but this is the site. The site extends from, you can see that microwave tower, the telephone, the mobile microwave tower.
Yes, yes.
All the way down along those pylons. You can see those electricity pylons. That is the end of the site. All the way down. Yes. And in anticipation of, our approvals from NEPSA, and while we're doing the geotechnical survey, we've cleared about 10 hectares of land where we are already planting the grass for the polo. So as soon as we get the approvals and we, finish the grading works, then we will just cut this grass and move it there in carpets like you do in the US.
But it's not a single plant. You roll it up so that you can get the grass and everything.
And it is the polo club that Crescent Stables, which is owned by Alhaji Dantara, they will be managing the polo club for us because he is the godfather of polo.
Yes.
Well, thank you for going.
Absolutely.
So we couldn't have had a better partner. We could not.
You can see the river.
It's a pretty little river, sir. We have water here even in the dry season, so we're quite lucky. We also have catfish, so if you ever want to fish, please let us know. It's good fishing.
If I may point,
You've given me a reason to, start preparing how I can play polo as well.
yes, absolutely.
That's the man to talk to.
And Buhari Towers is right there. Can you show them where Buhari Towers?
Yes, sir. Buhari Towers is right there.
Okay.
Between these two big hills, exactly in the center. So it'll have a prime position. It will not be obscured by any of the hills. You'll be able to see it anywhere from the city.
And we intend to go to site in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Just about seen in the distance. So that's the first photograph. That entire hill will remain green as is. In fact, we have partnered with the National Park Service to manage all the national parks in Nigeria, and we are getting all the trees from the arboretum, the local trees, and we are planting them.
Okay.
We have the polo club, the polo grounds, and from here we will have paddocks and a sand track going all the way back to the stables. Those stables will be both polo stables and also horse riding for the safari park. So from there you'll be able to go into the safari park. It's very important, sir. The clubhouse here is a temporary structure. It's no concrete. We're using a tented structure because it's a green area. So we are respecting the master plan both here and there are no concrete structures here. All temporary structures with temporary roofs. This, as you just saw, Villa Royal, these are the villas you saw earlier. This entire thing is the safari park. That's the grove, the grading that you saw in the distance there. And Buhari Towers, it's being redesigned, it'll be much taller, and you'll be right there. And Crescent Towers, which Alhaji Baba Dantata is also building, will be right there. He wants to overlook his pool of
Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Well done. This is a new intent.
Yes, master plan.
Your Royal Highnesses, let me recognize my colleagues, members of the management team of NEPSA. I also would like to recognize the management of the Abuja Centenary City Zone Management. Distinguished investors here present, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start by saying how truly thrilled we all are to be visiting with the Abuja Centenary City this morning. Let me apologize to the management of the zone for perhaps coming in to see this zone so late. As we all know, I was appointed managing director of the authority by Mr. President sometime in April last year. And as Dr. Ike said, I have been to visit almost all of the other zones, and this may very well be the very last zone that I'm visiting. While I apologize for coming in this late, I also believe that, in a sense, it was actually strategic that I saved the best for last. I've had the opportunity of visiting quite a number of other zones, and I've also been privileged to visit other city-type kinds of zones. I've been to Eko, Atlantic City, and I've also been to Dubai, and I think it is clear to me that this particular zone is modeled after Dubai. Let me just tell you one quick story and how really important this particular venture it is to the FCT and I believe to our country. I had this friend of mine whose son was very unhappy because the neighbors were all visiting on holidays and going to the United States. And every time they came back from the States, they had pictures of very beautiful places they've been to. And this, my friend's son, was obviously a very sad boy. So one day he came to me and told me that he would like to take his son to Dubai. And I said, why are you taking your son to Dubai? Why are you not taking your son to the US, just like every other place? Well, okay, so he didn't have enough money to take his son to Dubai, but he had money to take that young boy to Dubai. And by the time they came back from Dubai, most of the pictures that was taken from Dubai looked like any other beautiful city in the US. And so for that reason, he was now able to, and the young man was able to tell a lie to his friends that, well, you have been to the US, I also have been to the United States. Now, I believe that if Abuja Centenary City had already been placed as at the time, there would not have been any need for my friend to take his son to Dubai. So I want to commend Abuja Centenary City for providing for our young ones a future that most of us could only have dreamt of. What is going on here, from my understanding, is a concept that was not any different from Eko, Atlantic City. These two ventures actually were conceived at the same time and that were meant to have also started at the same time. But today, it is clear that Eko Atlantic City has recorded the kind of progress that Abuja Centenary City will take maybe another 2 years or so in order for us to get to the point where Eko Atlantic City is. And so the question really is, why has this been the case? I want to say, without any fear of equivocation, that this particular project actually suffered some hiccup. There were a number of gray areas, understandably. I'm happy today to say that from my privileged position, working together with other government agencies in an interrelated council, most of the gray areas that were burdening and making it impossible for this city to take off have now been at the point where some clarity has begun to be introduced so that this city can actually take its pride of place and hopefully make the quantum leap that we all want it, to get to. I look at the face of one of my general managers, General Manager Oyeshola, who actually has been sitting in that council, and he informs me, and I believe it is true, that nearly all of the problem areas have been cleared, and that a report is already waiting to be presented to Mr. President. And I am convinced that once that report is put on the President's table, given the information that is available, Abuja, Centenary City, will be actualized in our time, and this dream will really no longer be just a dream. It will be a dream come true indeed in our time, and we're very, very happy to be associated with the progress that is likely to be made here. Let me quickly mention about the areas that for us in NEBSA, we think that this is the project that should see the light of day. Free zones, as we all know them, are actually catalysts for development of most countries' economy. It is clear to anybody who understands the free zone scheme that the reason why Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, is the way it is because right from the beginning it was conceived around the concept of a free zone. So if we are all proud and happy to go to Dubai on holidays and to send our children to Dubai so they can take pictures and come and show their fellow friends in Nigeria, then there is no reason on earth why we must not encourage this particular concept so that our children no longer need to go to Dubai, but they can have their Dubai situated right inside of the FCT. So the free zone scheme, quite frankly, it's one that has been taken seriously by other parts of the world, and Nigeria must not be left behind, and it is our responsibility as an authority to make sure that government's desire to have a free zone that delivers to the needs of our citizens is actually emplaced. Dr. Ike spoke about the importance that this particular zone is likely to bring to our economy. I totally agree with him. If you're looking for jobs, this is the one place that, in my opinion, would deliver the kind of jobs that no other agency, no other project in this country is able to deliver. And in a time and a place where job opportunities for our younger ones is the greatest, perhaps the most important job that government has to deliver to our people, a project such as this that has the potential to deliver the kind of jobs that we have been told will deliver, I don't see also why any government will not take a project such as this seriously. And I'm convinced that this particular administration has taken this particular project seriously because of the advantage that it will produce the kinds of jobs that Nigerians are looking for. We're also looking at infrastructure. Okay, so one of the problems that we have in our country, everybody knows, is the deficit of infrastructure. Whether it is in power, whether it is in water, whether it is in every other thing else that really will make life worthy of living. This city will be a flagship because it is going to provide the kind of infrastructure that you are not likely to find anywhere else in this country. Therefore, I also think that even for that reason alone, we should rise up and support the Abuja Centenary City to be able to deliver on the dream that it has promised us. So we want foreign direct investment. Already from what I have been told, our brother Datata is not a foreigner, but he's going to be using a lot of dollars here. I know he doesn't manufacture dollars in Nigeria. So what that means is that the dollars that he's bringing, wherever he's bringing them from, that is foreign direct investment that's coming into this project. And that's just one investment. There are a lot of properties that have already been sold out to investors here. I was just a bit worried when Dr. Ike was showing me one of the mansions there that has already been sold. So if I've already sold everything, where am I likely to get anything? But I'm very comfortable also to hear that there is a number of other properties that have been developed, some of which will fall in the category of someone like me, or Yeshola, and some of us who are sitting here. So this city is going to be for everyone, and that's what makes it a very, very beautiful project to embrace. So all of us can come into the Abuja Centenary City and find a home for ourselves as well. And I'd like to commend the zone management for conceiving this. So in summary, let me just speak out of curve for a second or two. When you are offering your job opportunities, Dr. Ike, and I'm addressing you now, especially with regards to the safari, make sure that the young men and women from Kuje and all of the other parts that they are likely to employ, that they are not hunters. Because you may end up here and wake up one day and all the animals in the safari would have disappeared. So make sure that you get those who will be properly trained in order for them to be able to deliver on your safari project, because I think it's also a beautiful idea that we all would like to embrace. Finally, let me give this assurance before we leave. When I came into NEBSA as managing director last year, one of the things that were brought to my notice were the challenges that Abuja Centenary City was facing. There is no doubt, no disputing the fact that for a very long time there were very serious problems concerning the development of this project. But having worked closely with all of the government agencies that are concerned with this project, whether it is the Federal Capital Territory Administration, the NIPC, and all of the other agencies that are concerned, now I can report happily that we are at the stage, ladies and gentlemen, where investors can feel comfortable to come in here and make sure that this project is delivered. So once more, I want to thank you for the opportunity of giving us to come and see for ourselves what's going on here, to encourage you to continue. And my prayer and my hope is that in 4 weeks from now, Dantata would have started the foundation laying for the development of the Buhari, is it Buhari Towers. And please, sir, invite me to come when this is going to be done so that I'll be able to also cut the ribbon. Thank you so much. Well, first, thank you for having me. We're here as the Free Zone Authority in this country that licenses all our free zones. We administer the scheme on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. Let me first start by saying that this scheme was conceived so as to encourage foreign direct investment into our shores and to also, in a lot of ways, create an economic model that will divest from the oil mono economy that Nigeria has been well documented as well known for. And therefore, government in its wisdom, decided to embrace, the free zone model, which is the same model that has been used in most parts of the world in order to catalyze economic development. The best example for now that I can give, of course, is the United Arab Emirates and what they've done with Dubai. The Abuja Centenary City is actually a city that is modeled after Dubai with all of the incentives that are available. And anyone who has traveled to Dubai will tell you that the miracle and the magic of Dubai is one that really must be embraced by all who wish to have development brought onto their shores. Therefore, I think that this concept of the Abuja Centenary City, which, like, as I said, is modeled after Dubai, it's one that really, once it comes into fruition, it will create an economic hub in much the same way as what Dubai has become to the United Arab Emirates and, of course, most of the Middle East. So I come here very hopeful. I come here very optimistic that our country has embraced a model of development, that will take us in leaps and bounds. And our job as an authority, is to support it and to make sure that the environment is created such that will enable investors, to take this particular project seriously. I've come here for the first time since I assumed office as Managing Director of the Export Processing Zones Authority, and I have to say that I'm impressed with what I've seen on ground. Now, let's make no mistake about this. The project has actually suffered a lot of hiccup, much of which I think had to do with some of the legal issues, and then, of course, to mention, the fact that, the Federal Capital Territory Administration also had a number of problems to contend with. I'm happy to announce and proud to say that this particular government, under the leadership of our President, Muhammadu Buhari, has taken, this whole concept of developing the Nigeria, economy in a way that benefits our citizens very, very seriously. And this, in my opinion, is one of the main pillars upon which, that economic vision has been developed and built. So there is an understanding that amongst all the intergovernmental agencies that are responsible for delivering on this sort of project, that we are coming together, and some of the gray areas, that were actually outstanding. Right now, we are at the point at which a report will be hopefully presented to Mr. President in due course, which will now release this project and give it, the lease of life that it needs. My understanding and my opinion is that this is the project that really, can catapult, the development of the Nigerian economy in more ways than one, and we need to all come on board and support it.
In my own area where it affected as Toge and others, the MD has been carrying everybody along, awaiting for the project to start. Well, the issue of compensation, to me, the compensation was passed through the authority of the FCT resettlement and compensation, in which they are the one that extract the compensation, do the enumeration and everything. So, to me, it has been paid. But there must be some challenges where that one is necessary. Well, I believe when the Centenary City project started, it will be a benefit to our people, because it will absorb. There were communities that have been redundant through the project, so it means it will be beneficial to our community.
Yes, my name is His Royal Highness Alhaji Haruna Tanko Jibrin, the Gomo of Kuji. Well, the Centenary City itself, the way I perceive it, is something that is going to boost the economy of our own area, is going to help our youth, the unemployed youth, to be engaged. Even though looking at the prototype of the project, people are perceiving it that it's not to the reach of the poor. So, but the way I see it today, the clarification being made by the MD and the representative of Dantata is indicating that even the lesser beings can be part of this this edifice, this exercise.
Finally, sir, about the compensation issue, we've been hearing talk about settlers not being paid. What is your take on that? Have you been paid?
When you say having not been paid, then that person that is telling you, I was a party and I'm still a party to this very project. The compensation were paid fully. I was even the first person to present the first check to the beneficiary within my own community. So if I said it's a hearsay, that is, I was part of that exercise. And the compensation was paid according to the law of the FCT land use something. Do you understand? So the compensation was fully paid to the farmers.
About 64 million was paid for compensation on the resettlement land. About 54 million was paid for relocating the transmission line out of Centenary City. If you add all of those, it's about 1.4 billion.
So when are we expecting that this project will by seeing it up to completion that people will set enjoyment?
Yes, this project never died. The foreign investor slowed his investment while we're working to fix some of the bureaucratic challenges, which the MD has said he's confident has been resolved. And it has a 10 to 12 year construction period. It's a 10 to 12 year construction period. So that's the amount of time it's going to take.
With epileptic supply of electricity and the water in terms of this area, so what are you...
like I said, the transmission line that crosses the Centenary City is a dual carriage line. It brings line from Shiroro and evacuates power from Geregu. So those two are the two most important transmission lines in Nigeria. So we're lucky to have it next to us. We will build a substation and capture it. So at least 80% of our power sources we're comfortable with that. We have a river that's perennial crossing the Centenary City. We can tap the river independently and provide our own water source. So one of the critical things that you're talking about has quite frankly been
employment generation.
250,000 Nigerians when the project is finished. During the construction period of 10 to 12 years, 150,000.